Hi, my name is Randy Brunansky, and I'm the academic director at Aletheia Christian Academy. And I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to parents of Logic 1 students. Logic 1 students are students that are in what is traditionally considered seventh grade. And so if you have a Logic 1 student, your assignments are going to look a little bit different than the grammar students, which get a syllabus with the memory work and all of that. You will get a syllabus as well. It's a little bit different. It will be broken down by week, and we will have each week what is done for the whole week in each of the subjects at Academy and what you need to do at home. The point of Logic 1, one of the big changes and benefits really is as these students move into the dialectic stage, this more conversational, like why is this the way it is? How is this related? It's the conversations are so important in that class. And so to have good conversations, your student needs to have done their work. Like they come with work done so they can have those discussions. And your student will even sign an agreement that says that they are willing to do the work or communicate with their instructor if they are unable to. And I wanted just to take now just a minute to go through some of the curriculum and what that looks like. So let's talk about history first, since I have this book here. We are going through Streams of Civilization, Volume 1, and we actually will only get halfway through this book. We will finish it for these students in Logic 2. So this is a 2-year book for you. We are studying ancient history up to really the birth of the church. And then we'll kind of end there. And students are going to be looking at some major civilizations that happened. They're going to be looking at the line of, like how long did these people in Genesis live, for instance? Like we see these years, we read through these lines of people, but do we really understand their place in a timeline? Like how long before the flood did Adam die? These are interesting questions that maybe we don't think too much about. Like, how does life look here if we were to make it in this timeline? And that's what we want to do. We want to make a physical timeline for them to be able to plug in different things that were going on, knowing that the Bible is authority, it's authoritative, and it's history. It's not fable, it's not story. And so we're using the Bible as some text. We're also looking at some other things outside of it. This history class is great in the sense that they will be doing readings. So they'll have assigned readings at home that they'll do, which will come from this book mostly. It'll be noted if it's something else. And then we will be doing fun things in class. We'll have an ancient, like ancient Israelites will be studying them and maybe do, we have it scheduled, we will do an Israelite feast. And we'll be looking at Egyptians, and we'll have like a day where we come in costume and it involves reading, absolutely. It involves writing and taking notes and understanding things, but it also involves this hands-on fun of coming in and playing with history in a sense of like, what were their customs? What did they eat? Let's have food like that represents that time period. And the most important thing is we'll have conversation in that class. And so the history book is listed there for you to get. I also have get other resources on ancient Egypt. I think I have listed on there and some other things. And all that means is, you can use encyclopedias, you can go online and look up resources, you can check books out from the library. Those are really going to help when you're doing your cultural presentations, like when we have our feast days or our walking through history days, for the students to be able to do just some research and then come and share it. And so, but we'll talk through that in class. What does that look like to do research, and how do we know we're getting a reputable source? So that's history. We'll go to Bible next. They're going to be reading Gospel Primer, which is basically what is the gospel, and it breaks it up. And so they'll be doing short readings. They'll actually do this. They'll talk through this in class, and then they will be looking at Window. This will be assigned for them to read Window on the World, and this book is about the church and Christianity in different cultures. And so they'll be using that as a way to be praying for Christians all over the world. And so the Bible class will have these two resources. And again, in that syllabus, it'll tell you what was discussed and what they need to read to be discussed next week. Geography, we are going to be using this program, which is Memoria Press, Geography 3, with the end goal of drawing the world and having some understanding of relationally where things are. And we'll be using this atlas, although you can use a different one if you have it. We'll have that in class. And they need, for sure, the student text and the student workbook. And then the teacher guide is helpful if you want to be checking answers. But we will have that for them. And then, like I said, each student will draw the world at the end. That is geography. Let's go to composition and grammar. So this is the textbook, and it stays the same each year. They will use this in Logic 1 and Logic 2. The thing that changes is the workbook. This year I've asked for the blue workbook, but if you have a different one and you haven't written in it or you haven't used it, that's absolutely fine. The different workbooks allow different sentence patterns and different sentences for so that you're not doing the exact same thing. But this is scripted. You can use this at home very easily by just reading the instructor part. Some students will be a little more independent than others. Some will need the parent to read it to them. But we will do one day in class, and then you will do the other 3 days at home. And the other 3 days will involve a workbook sheet that they'll be doing with it. Composition is going to be for Logic 1 following Narnia. And that also has a reading schedule, which involves these 3 books, which is The Horse and His Boy, The Lion and the Witch and the Wardrobe, and The Magician's Nephew. So they'll be discussing that. And then there's a couple of other literature books you'll see on the book list that we'll also be discussing. IEW is broken down, and it tells you like what to do in day 1 and day 2. And we will, again, in the syllabus, talk about what we did, like what of the parts we covered and what you need to do at home or your student needs to do at home. And if you're not familiar with IEW, we also will have unit watch parties where we'll watch a practicum right before that unit is introduced, because IEW is broken down into units. And so that is an option that I highly recommend if you've never done IEW. But this class will allow them to have writing opportunities, to do vocabulary review, to have opportunities to present papers, and to work on those presentation skills, and to hear the creativity of other students. And it will be a wonderful class for those students with that. This also goes with, no, I don't think that's this history. All right, science. Let's do science. We are using this book. This is another book that's going to be a 2-year book. So I know what investment in, but you should be able to use it next year. This is perfect curriculum for our academy because it has 2 reading days and 1 lab day. So you're going to be doing the reading days at home, and we'll be doing the lab days at academy. There is, they need the text and they need the lab book. Now, there is an older version of that text. Can you buy that? I have a video on that. You'll have to watch. Can I buy an older edition? But the student is responsible for doing the readings before the lab, because that will make the lab make sense. And it will, again, be assigned. There's no question of what that looks like. It's not a mystery. For logic, the logic subject, we are going to just first, we want to set a solid foundation. It couldn't just happen. This is a book about creationism, science, and how the world that we live in demonstrates that it was designed. And I think it's a great foundation. So we're going to do that for students. And then we will move into this really fun book called The Fallacy Detective. And I'm looking forward to that. We'll be learning different fallacies with the students and the best part about this class is just the conversations that go with it. And then when you start to notice the fallacies all around you that you have believed. There is a little bit of memory work for these Logic 1 students. We will be memorizing the Bible passages. So it's Psalm 139 and Colossians, I think it's Colossians 1:13 through, don't hold me to it, let me see here. Yes, Colossians 1:13 through 22. So they'll be memorizing those along with the others. And then geography has quite a bit of memory work. The Fallacy Detective has memory work for fallacies. So there will be a memory component to it. Even though they've moved into more of an older stage, they still need to be memorizing things. That's part of stages of learning. And so we have that set for them. And that is Logic 1.